Alright, the objective for lesson 29 is I will solve a variety of word problems involving area and perimeter using all four operations. So this is just what we did in lesson 28. We're working with word problems again, where we have to draw and write our sentences and our equations to solve the problems. And we're working with both area and perimeter. So we're going to go straight to the problem set, so you'll need to have that out in front of you. And now we have an irregular shape here that we know that if we draw a line in, we will be able to make two different shapes, and that will help us find area and perimeter. And we know that we're going to have to look at some of the side links that we have to help us find the missing side links. So number 1 says Kyle puts two rectangles together to make the L-shaped figure below. He measures some of the side links and records them as shown. So it says find the perimeter of Kyle's shape, and then it says find the area of Kyle's shape. So we're going to have to draw a line, and we're all going to draw a line in the same spot. And I think the best place for us to draw a line, we'll say right here. Because now if I know that this is 12 inches, I know that this whole thing is 12 inches. And we'll have to find this side length right here. Because for this right here, we already know the area because we have this side length and this side length. So what we're going to have to do first is we're going to have to find this missing side length so we can find the area of this rectangle right here. And the way that we're going to do that is we know that this whole side length right here is going to be 16 inches. And we know that this part right here is 8 inches. So if this part is 8 inches, then what is left over here is going to have to be added to 8 inches, and it will have to equal 16. So you're going to ask yourself, what do you add to 8? That would give you 16. And you should know that that is also 8. So this missing side length is 8 inches. So now we know the length and the width of this rectangle, and we know the length and the width of this other rectangle. That will help us find the perimeter and area of Kyle's entire shape. Now when we're working with the perimeter, we don't really care about this line, so I'm going to take it out. Actually, I'm going to put it back because we still have to find this missing side right here. Because in order to find the perimeter, we do have to have all of the side lengths. We didn't have to know this side to find the area, so we do need to find this other missing side length. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to look at this 12 inches, and then we're going to look at this 6 inches, because this right here is also 6 inches. So if this side length is 6 inches, then you need to ask yourself, what are you going to add to 6 inches to make 12 inches total? And once again, you should know that that would be 6 inches. So now I have that this missing side length right here is 6 inches. So to find the perimeter of Kyle's shape, now all we have to do is add up all of the side lengths. So we're going to put 12 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 16 on our paper. And what I want you to do right now is add those numbers together to find the total perimeter of Kyle's shape, and then answer that in a sentence. And whenever you have that done, you may push play. So when you add up all of the side lengths of Kyle's shape, you get 128. So your sentence should have said the perimeter of Kyle's shape is 128 inches. So question B says find the area of Kyle's shape. So now we're going to go back to what we did before, and we know that the length and width of this rectangle was 12 inches by 8 inches. And we know that the length and width of this rectangle is 8 inches by 6 inches. So we're going to put 12 times 8, and then we're going to put 8 times 6. And then once we have those solved, we will have to add those two areas together to find the total area of his entire shape. So what I want you to do right now is to solve 12 times 8, which is also like 8 times 12, and solve 8 times 6, add those two numbers together, and then answer the question for what the entire area of his shape is. So 12 times 8 was 96, and 8 times 6 is 48. And when you add 96 and 48 together, you get 144. So the area of Kyle's shape is 144 square inches. And now we're ready to move on to part C. It says Kyle makes 2 copies of the L-shaped figure to create the rectangle shown below. Find the perimeter of the rectangle. So this one won't be too bad because we already know all of the side lengths that we need. We know that this long side length right here is the same thing right here. So we're going to label this 16 inches. Make sure you're labeling it on your paper as well. We know that this side length on the side is going to be the same over here. So that's 12 inches. And then we know that that one side length at the top that we were missing, I'm going to go back up here to make sure, is 8 inches. So we're going to put 8 inches right here, and we're going to put 8 inches right here. Now all we have to do is add all of these side lengths together to find the total perimeter of this new rectangle that he made. And then once you have added all of those side lengths together, you're going to write your answer in a complete sentence for what the perimeter of this rectangle is. So once you have all that done, you may push play. So whenever you add all of the side lengths together, you got 72. So the perimeter of the rectangle is 72 inches. Now we're ready to move on to the other side of the problem set. Number 2 says Jeremiah and Haley use a piece of rope to make a square space for their booth at the science fair. The area of their space is 49 square feet. What is the length of the rope that Jeremiah and Haley use if they leave a 3-foot opening so they can get in and out of the space? Okay, so we're going to have to draw a picture. Okay, so you're going to have to draw your square. And we know that all sides of a square have the same length, so we're going to have to multiply the length and the width so we can find the area. And what they already told us is that the area is 49 square feet. So you have to think to yourself, what two numbers do you multiply together that are going to be the same numbers, because the length and the width of a square are going to be the same. So what two numbers that are the same numbers can you multiply together that are going to give you 49? And if you don't know your facts, that's what's going to make this hard, because knowing your facts pretty quickly is really good, especially when we're working with area. So I know that if I have 7 times 7, that is 49. So I know now that these two side lengths that I've got right here are going to be 7 feet and 7 feet. So it says, what is the length of the rope that Jeremiah and Haley use if they leave a 3-foot opening? So what we can do is we can find the perimeter of this whole square, because that is how much rope they would use to put around all of it. And once we have found the perimeter for the entire area of their little booth at the science fair, all we'll have to do is take away 3 feet so they can leave a little space. So to find the perimeter, we would have to do 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7, and that would leave us with what the perimeter of their booth would be. And we know that 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 is the same thing as 4 times 7, and I know that 4 times 7 is 28. So if the whole perimeter of their space is 28, but they want to leave a 3-foot opening, then I have to take 28 minus 3, and I know that 28 take away 3 is going to be 25. So now we have to write an answer in a complete sentence. So it says the length of the rope Jeremiah, spelling his name wrong, and Haley will use is going to be 25 feet long. So now we have answered that question. You have to really look at these closely so you know exactly what you need to do to get it solved. Number 3 says, Vivian draws 4 identical rectangles as shown below to make a new larger rectangle. The perimeter of one of the small rectangles is 18 centimeters and the width is 6 centimeters. What is the perimeter of the new larger rectangle? Okay, what I think that meant to say is the length of one of the small rectangles is 18 centimeters and the width is 6 centimeters. I don't think it meant to say the perimeter, because it's asking what is the perimeter. So what we're going to do here is we're going to label the length as 18 centimeters, and then the width is going to be 6 centimeters. So knowing these two numbers right here, we will be able to label the rest of it. So I'm going to put, oh goodness gracious. We're going to put 6 right here, and then all these other side links over here are also going to be 6, and then the longer length sides of the rectangles are going to be 18. And then we know, oh my goodness, we know that in order to find the perimeter that we have to add the side links all together. So we're going to write our equation out to the side of what we're going to add together, which is 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. And whatever that is equal to is going to tell us the new perimeter of this larger rectangle. So I want you to go ahead and add those numbers together and then write your answer in a complete sentence once you have found the perimeter of the new larger rectangle. So whenever you add up all of the side links, you should have gotten 96. So the perimeter of the new larger rectangle is 96 centimeters. Now we're ready to move on to number 4. Number 4 says a jogging path around the outside edges of a rectangular playground measures 48 yards by 52 yards. Maya runs 3.5 laps on the jogging path. What is the total number of yards Maya runs? So we've got to get our picture up here. We've got 48 yards on one side, and then we've got 52 yards on the other side, so we're going to get that labeled. It says that she ran that 3.5 times. So she's not going inside of it, she's running around it. So we have to find the perimeter of this playground first before we move on to do anything else. So over here to the side, I want you to write down the side links that we're going to be adding together, which is 48 plus 52 plus 48 plus 52. And then I want you to add those together to find the perimeter of this playground. And once you have that added together, you may push play. So when you add it together, you get 200. So if she ran that 3 different times, or 3.5 times, then I know so far that I'm going to have to do 200 plus 200 plus 200, because that is showing me the 3 times that she ran it, and then we'll work on the half in just a second. So I know that 200 plus 200 plus 200 is equal to 600, because I know that 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, so we just need to add our zeros onto that. And then if she ran halfway around it, then you're going to ask yourself, what is half of 200? And if you should know what half of 200 is, and it is 100. So we're going to say now that 600 plus 100, and that gives us 700. So that tells us that the total number of yards that Maya ran was 700. So now we're going to answer that in a complete sentence, saying the total number of yards Maya ran was 700. So that took quite a few steps to figure out the answer to that problem. So once you have all of that down and ready, then we're going to be ready to move on to the exit ticket. Once you have this exit ticket finished, you may bring it to me so we can check it.